What's going on, everyone, and happy Independence Day. We have a bunch to talk about today as the market is at brand new all-time highs yet again. Tesla stock is ripping to the upside, and we have some pretty big new trades, not only from Nancy Pelosi, but also Jeff Bezos. And these are pretty crazy ones as well. And we have a lot of great setups and a lot to talk about for the market tomorrow. So, Tom, let's not waste any time and let's jump right into it.
Yeah, first things first, the market made that new all-time high, and the SPY actually broke above that key resistance that we were talking about last week, right around 550, and it broke it pretty well on Friday, running all the way up to around 551.80. Now, what was it the biggest breakout in the world? No, but it's really good to see it holding above that level after the break. I think that that's a really good sign heading into Friday here. And Mike, I know that this is a short week today. You know, there was obviously no trading, but tomorrow the market is open. I know a lot of people might be kind of thrown off by that at first. I'm ready for a lot of hungover traders tomorrow, but it's going to be a fun one, right? And we are seeing a lot of great stocks move lately, like Tesla, which is up 6.5%, and they actually have some news coming out where short sellers lost $3.5 billion in 2 days. Man, those delivery numbers have had a great reaction so far.
Absolutely. It's like you said, they reported that delivery data, and then the stock just started ripping to the upside. And when you look at Tesla on a daily chart, it has had a handful of just very powerful days right now. And it's great to see this sort of price action out of Tesla because, you know, to be honest, it's kind of been a while from when we've seen Tesla truly rip to the upside. Over the past year or so, all of the hype and attention has been with these chip stocks and, you know, AI stocks and stuff like that. While Tesla has been kind of like stuck in the mud. So either way, it's great to see price action like this because Tesla, of all stocks, has like some of the best movement out there.
Yeah, they really do. And those green days that are coming in are awesome. And, you know, the last time that they were around this level, like 170 to 180, and they started ripping back up, I'm not saying that it's going to happen again, but Tesla can have some pretty wild moves. The last time it did this, it ran up around like 69 to 70% from that level I talked about, like 180. So definitely keep your eyes on Tesla here. It's moving to the upside in a big way. There are some resistances coming up overhead. I'm really watching like 260 to 265. I think that'll be pretty important. And of course, you know, we'll be eyeing this one up a lot over the next couple weeks, guys. We'll have a ton of huge levels on Sunday night's video as well.
You know it. And with Tesla, it's such a crazy mover. So let's say when the market opens tomorrow, if there's a lot of pressure on its recent highs and the stock is just continuing to move with momentum, then of course there's opportunity there. But at the same time, once the momentum turns, you have to make sure not to bag hold because no one wants to, you could say, be trading a stock in a bullish way when all the momentum is there and it's strong, and then only to have that stock turn over. So you have to be quick to adjust. And of course, don't be caught holding the bag when the momentum turns. But either way, good stuff with Tesla there. But as we talk about Tesla, Tom, we can't forget about Nancy Pelosi's brand new trade. So what's going on here?
Oh, this is funny. So as a filing came out on Friday, we started to learn of a few new trades Mrs. Pelosi took. And I will say, Mike, we're looking at a big purchase on NVIDIA. And I think this is the thing that really struck a lot of traders. She purchased 10,000 shares of NVIDIA. That is pretty awesome. So keep your eyes on NVIDIA in the short term. That's quite a bit. You know, 10,000 shares of a stock like that is no joke. And then Tesla, she actually sold 2,500 shares, Mike, and she's taking some heat for once. I know Pelosi's usually pretty good at timing her trades, but she got out of Tesla right before the pop. That's a little bit weird for her.
It is unusual, but I'm sure all of her other trades will make up for it. But yeah, like you said, the biggest thing to take away from this is that, you know, she's not backing down with NVIDIA. She said, I want more of that stock after she just made a couple million over like the past year or so. So that was interesting. But then also she was buying some call options on ticker symbol AVGO. We can see that she purchased some call options for AVGO at the 800 strike that expire on June 20th of 2025. AVGO is another one of those stocks that has just been ripping to the upside over the past year or so. And Tom, I'll say this, like, even though these stocks have are up so much over the past year, that's not stopping her from continuing to buy even more, which, you know, it's a bold move, but we'll see how it pays off for her.
Yeah, and that actually struck me quite hard also, and I think it's a really good sign that she's still buying as the stocks are moving up like this. I mean, whenever you look at AVGO, it's up so high right now, it's pretty insane. I will say, though, she did do the 800 strike calls, so, that's pretty far down there, pretty far in the money for a lot of people who, I know there's many people out there who would not follow that exactly, right? Like, if they're going to follow Pelosi, they'll go with, like, the 1800 strike or something, but she's getting really deep in the money there, and with NVIDIA, the 10,000 shares, I mean, that one really struck me, right? There's this short-term little dip that's been going on. If we start to see a good move up and out of this dip and back above 140, that'll be really good for these shares that she's getting. So overall, that really struck me as a good thing that she's still buying here, Mike. And I don't know, like you said, it's very interesting because these stocks seem pretty overextended, but I don't know. Sometimes they keep going. We can go back to Tesla on the daily chart from 2020. And I mean, I know there were some big dips mixed in, but for the most part, it kept ripping up for a couple years.
Yeah, so either way, keep a close eye on these stocks going forward because when Nancy places trades, they tend to move in some pretty interesting ways. So either way, keep these stocks close on watch. But Tom, we can't forget about Jeff Bezos's newly planned trade as well. So for those of you who don't know, Jeff Bezos has been selling quite a bit worth of Amazon shares this year. So far, he already sold $8.5 billion worth of Amazon shares, and now he wants to sell another $5 billion more. So that is that with Amazon. The stock is right around its all-time high, which is good to see. And some people will see headlines like this one, like, oh my gosh, Jeff Bezos is selling, billions of dollars worth of Amazon shares. But guys, it's worth keeping in mind that Jeff Bezos' net worth is over $200 billion with a B. So when he sells, let's say $5 billion or $8 billion worth of the stock, it means something, but it's not like the stock has to come crashing down. So keep that in mind. But I think it is just worth, I guess you could say, keeping in the back of your head that, Jeff Bezos and a handful of other, you could say, big money players out there have been trimming some of their positions, but at the same time, understand that they play a little bit of a different game when it comes to selling some of their shares.
Yeah, he might just be trying to fund his 4th of July party or something, He's getting all those fireworks, but no, seriously, it's pretty awesome to see Amazon moving up the way it is, and I think it's pretty smart by him to sell while it's around the highs. And we're actually sitting right on a key $200 level, so I think that this will be a pretty big thing for Bezos and Amazon overall. And we did see a pretty big sell-off on Amazon on Friday with this news coming in. I mean, that was a pretty massive move down on a day where the market made brand new all-time highs, which is a little bit weird for Amazon lately. They have a pretty good correlation to the SPY.
There we go. So another thing that we do have to talk about as we're coming into that time of the year is that the VIX has a at least tendency to rise in this portion of the year. As we could see by looking at the chart right here, the red line basically shows the VIX so far this year, where the gray lines show what VIX does on average. For those of you who don't know, VIX is basically a gauge of fear and volatility. So when this goes up, normally that's when the market really starts to get crazy, and most of the time in a bearish way. And we could see that we're at that time of the year where it's like VIX is, right before the point at which it normally starts to run up. So keep in mind that not only as we head into the election and, the rest of the year progresses, but we also do have some seasonality where it's like over these next couple months, historically speaking, the market does tend to get extra crazy and extra volatile, and this extra volatility is most of the time associated with a downside price action. So again, this is not necessarily news for tomorrow, but we do like to show charts like this one to make sure everyone is prepared for the next couple weeks and months ahead.
Yeah, that's pretty big. I know that we've looked at VIX charts like this in the past, and it actually ended up playing out pretty well, and it ended up being pretty accurate compared to the historical data. Now, of course, every year is not going to be like that, but I do think that this is a very significant thing to look for, and just to see that, usually when we get to the midpoint in July towards August, we do start to see that uptick starting to happen. So if we do start to see that with the VIX this year, that might be a good opportunity, right? You might be able to look at UVXY in the short term to the upside and a couple of other things. Of course, maybe some downside stuff on some of the tech stocks maybe. But looking at VIX right now, it's definitely on a big support. So I don't know. If it starts to run up, that would be pretty awesome in the short term. And looking at UVXY, you can really take advantage of those short-term moves. But keep in mind, holding UVXY for too long can get you hurt pretty bad.
Yeah, to say the least. But another thing to talk about is that, while the market certainly is far away from crash mode right now, I guess you could say upside euphoria is still in full effect as the market broke its 33rd all-time high for this year. So as you can see by looking at this chart, to say the least, the market has been ripping to the upside. And while this is great to see, it's not necessarily all that crazy in like historical terms. We can see when you look at like 2021, there were 70 all-time highs made, and a handful of other years there were many all-time highs made. But it's also worth noting that we're only halfway through the year. So the main thing to keep in mind is that yes, the market has been phenomenal so far this year. But keep in mind that we do have a crucial election coming up, let alone other interesting geopolitical events developing in the world right now. So while the market has been super strong, as always, you have to be willing to adapt, and that's the way to go as a trader, because we do have some potential rate cuts coming as well. So either way, keep these stats in mind. But Tom, as we jump back over to the SPY for a second, yes, it just made a brand new all-time high, but what would you say are the key levels in both directions to watch for tomorrow?
So in the short term, I'm going to be very careful with this 550.75 resistance / support now. We did break above it, so I guess now resistance becomes support. So I'll be watching 550.75 and then 550 under there as major supports. If we do start to see the market pull back, we need to really see that hold there, or else we could see a bigger sell-off, maybe down to like 548.50 and then 547. Overhead, I will be watching the high of day Friday, which came in right around 551.80. So that'll be a good short-term resistance past there. It's hard to say, because we don't have any established levels or anything like that. We will be looking at the book map, though, come Friday morning on the live stream, if you guys want to check that out on the Stocked Up Live channel. But yeah, other than that, we're in uncharted territory, Mike, and the big thing is just watching these supports and making sure that SPY is holding up above these old resistances now.
All right, sounds good. And then for tomorrow, we also cannot forget that we do have unemployment data set to release 1 hour before the market opens, so be prepared for that. And then, as we said in the earlier videos this week, the earnings calendar is as dead as can be. It is it's a complete empty map for the rest of the week. So we are all set to just trade that price action. So with that being said, let's get right into some setups and predictions for tomorrow. The first stock I'm looking at right now is SLV, and we talked about this one quite a bit in the previous video, and it was just it was amazing. Basically the way it moved on the last trading day. So SLV was a recent big money play. As we can see by the chart, it was a $3.2 million trade that we talked about. SLV is already up 3% on the day, but I'm going to continue to look at this one in a bullish way going forward. While this recent price action has been great, I think it has more room to go. Of course, for tomorrow, there's a lot of potential, but it's also an opportunity going into like the next couple of weeks and the next couple of months. SLV follows silver, as we know, and silver is not like Tesla in the sense that it could have 9% up days and 10% down days. It's more so an asset class that has really good moves, but it moves in a little bit more of like a slower, more consistent way. So keep that in mind going forward, and SLV is on my radar for the next couple days, weeks, and months.
Yeah, I'll keep it on there too. I know we talked about it a lot in the previous video, and it really did blast off yesterday. So that was really cool to see with SLV. With my first play, I'm looking at NVIDIA to the upside. There was a pretty good move yesterday as well, up 4.57%. I know that it's been dipping a lot lately, but we got that Pelosi news coming in. There's some pretty good news behind this move, and we're seeing a good breakout in the short term. If we go to the hourly chart, it's pretty good to see it breaking out above 128. So if we can break 128 and hold above that tomorrow, I'll keep watching it up.
Sounds good. And then you also can't forget about that over 1 million share order stacked up at that 130 level, as we can see on Bookmap right now. So definitely be prepared for that 130 level. And there's even a handful of sellers sitting right at 129 as well.
Yeah, there is, and I can't believe that there's over 1 million at 130. That's nuts. And then a little bit at 129, like 355,000 shares. It's not 1 million, but that's still a pretty big number in its own right. So watch that resistance as it gets closer, like 129 to 130, and hopefully we can see another breakout, because if we get the same price action like we had yesterday, that break will happen pretty easily.
All right. Another stock I'm watching pretty closely right now is BABA. We talked about this stock in the previous video, and it had a great move higher yesterday, which is awesome to see. But I'm going to continue to look at this one in a bullish way going forward. It is bouncing off of a good support area, and basically it's just presenting a really good risk reward in the short term. The price action is strengthening as well, and it's definitely on watch for more potential bullish price action. I would like to see a break above like the $75.90 area, and maybe even that $76 resistance as well. But either way, this one is on my radar.
Yeah, I'll keep watching Baba up in the short term. That move was great. And the thing that's been awesome about Baba's movement lately is it's not coming from the huge gap ups. It's actually happening when the U.S. market opens, which has been making me so happy with Baba over the past couple of days. I know a lot of traders have been loving this one. With my next play, I'm looking at Taiwan Semiconductors back to the upside. They went up 3.86% yesterday, and I'll be looking for a rebreak around 182.75. If I see that, I'll keep watching them up. But I'm really just looking for more bullishness out of the overall market and out of these tech stocks. I'm going with NVIDIA and TSM today, both pretty good chip stocks with pretty good price action in the short term.
All right, sounds good. Well, it's now about that time for today's momentum plays. And with the first one, we have GDX to the upside.
The gold mining ETF. Yeah, if GDX ends up breaking above 35.60, watch it up for tomorrow.
All right, with the next one, we have RUN also to the upside.
Sunrun, we haven't talked about them in a long time, but they're starting to get some good price action. If they can break above 12.20, watch them up.
All right, and then with the last one, we have Coinbase for both directions.
COIN, yeah, this one can get pretty wild sometimes. It actually had a pretty bad day on Wednesday as Bitcoin fell out pretty hard, but I'll be watching for Coinbase to break under 221.50 to the downside. If it ends up breaking above 227 up, then I'll keep watching it back up.
All right, so we have the upside levels for potential moves higher. We have the downside levels for potential moves lower. Don't forget about the levels on Coinbase, but also RUN and GDX. Either way, these three stocks are on watch for potential day trades tomorrow, if and only if they can break through the levels Tom listed. We are looking for strong, powerful, consistent price action, and the stronger the price action is, the better the setups become. If these stocks do not break the levels listed, then do not feel the need to risk a setup that isn't worth the capital. So either way, keep these stocks close on watch. And let's jump right into today's big money trade. And we are looking at ticker symbol NEM, and the big money put $245,000 into the NEM 40 strike call options that expire on August 2nd of 2024. So this one is interesting for multiple reasons. The first one being that it is somewhat similar to the big money trade from the previous video with SLV that is already moving in a great way. So for those of you who don't know, NEM is like a mining company. They do a lot with gold mining, but as we also know, gold and silver tend to move together. So by the big money putting $245,000 into this NEM trade, it goes to show that there are a lot of bullish flows and bullish activity, not only with, you could say, silver and gold, but also like the mining companies associated with those metals. And then on top of that, these call options are already in the money and they have a short expiration date. So that means the big money is not only expecting a positive move out of this stock, but they're also expecting it relatively soon, given that the expiration date is August 2nd. A lot of times with big money trades, these options expire at least a couple months out, if not, even years out in some situations. So This is definitely a shorter term trade, which I like. I like how it's in the money, and I also like how it agrees with an already existing big money trade that is proving to do well, which is SLV. So either way, I'm excited to see how this one does.
Yeah, NEM is a very interesting stock. It has some pretty big moves sometimes, and I love that movement from yesterday, right? And I really like this big money play too, with it being shorter term. It's pretty awesome. I know it's not the most money ever, only 245,000, but the time is really interesting with this play. And with this little uptick that we're starting to see with metals, it's looking really good, right? Like SLV is starting to break out above this little channel. We go look at GLD. It's bouncing very well off support, getting to like the top end of its recent range. So we're seeing some pretty good movement out here out of gold and silver lately. And if this is a bigger dip to be bought, this will end up being a pretty awesome play with NEM. So I'll be keeping this one on the radar very closely, Mike, for a possible entry here in the short term. That movement was so good Wednesday, right? It was up 4%. I know a lot of people are going to say, hey, isn't this one up too much in the short term? Honestly, I don't think so. Like if I look at NEM on the daily, I still think that there's more room here.
Yeah, I could see it. And it also really depends on how gold and silver continue to move. And, what's great about trading is that you can always adapt. Like, whenever you place a trade, you don't have to marry that setup where, like, no matter what happens. It's like, that's what's so awesome about trading is, like, if you get into a setup, you could ride that momentum for as long as you want. And if the setup changes, you can always pivot. And that's not only just a good thing about trading, but it's also a necessary part about trading, because sometimes unpredictable things happen in the world, or sometimes just the root trend changes, or a million other factors. So definitely keep that in mind. And I guess this goes to further reinforce what we always talk about, Tom, which are smart, disciplined, long-term trading habits. And we've been seeing a lot of those in the stocked up trading floor lately, which is awesome to see, which actually brings us to today's member of the day, Geezerby, who said that they're new to the group, and it has definitely helped his confidence quite a bit. And he had a great post on Friday, and he also showcased a nice 250% return with some Tesla call options. So huge shout out to you, Geezerby. Keep up the great work. And then SM Bot just hit it out of the park with Tesla all day long on the half day, which is awesome to see as well. We could see it had some Tesla call options that were up over 200%, and it even got in on the Nvidia price action with some call options that popped up by 161%, and a handful of other stocks as well. So if you guys are into short-term trading, definitely check out that first link in the description and the comments down below. You get full access to all of our trading bots. You can chat with Tom and myself all day long. You can access the big money trades on the same day they are made, but before the video comes out, which a lot of times makes for much better entry prices, just like the SLV trade from earlier in the week. As we look at that one, we can see that SLV big money trade came out, and the next morning, it moved so quickly that it gapped up by a couple percent just to start out the day. So basically, if you join the trading floor, you get access to these quicker. You could join our live events, and honestly, we have everything you need for short-term trading. It is the place to be. If you want in on the action, check out that first link in the description and the comments down below. Coupon code Big Money saves a ton off the yearly plan, and we do not do sales often. So if you want in, now's the time to secure that. But besides that, Tom, I'm pretty excited for the end of the week. We have a handful of pretty exciting things going on, not only with Tesla, Nvidia, SLV, some of these other big money trades, but we're also starting to see the market, heat up in multiple different ways. So I'm excited to end this week.
Yeah, and it's always fun whenever you get Nancy Pelosi buying stocks out there. So I'm definitely going to have my eyes on Nvidia very closely. Even Tesla, I know she sold it and kind of dropped the bag on that one, but that's okay. Nvidia is probably doing very well for her. Hopefully AVGO gets some good price action as well in the short term. So I'll keep those stocks on watch here to end the week. But yeah, let's end the week with a bang, Mike. There's only one trading day left. I know it's a short one, but we're not getting any shortage of price action, that's for sure. So be ready for Friday, guys. Don't drink too much tonight. Make sure that you're ready for tomorrow. And hey, let's have a great end of the week.
There we go. And if you guys are new to the channel, consider obliterating that subscribe button to get our videos recommended to you more often. Besides that, have a great, safe Independence Day. And don't forget, coupon code Big Money with the first link in the description and the comments down below will save you a ton on the stocked up trading floor. Besides that, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you all in the next video.